Hello everybody, welcome back to Language Litigation and Integration Part 40, Casual Conversations. First today, I'm going to talk kind of like a continuation of the biologically neutral episode in this series. I'll probably tell you some stories at the end. I just want to talk about cellular responsivity in the biologically neutral video. I made the point that most, if not all, action is biologically neutral. Now I'm going to make that more specific and say, therefore, most, if not all, disease is extended negligence. I think in that one, again, we just talked about a bunch of just exercise, cellular responsivity, metabolism, health, a little bit about specific alcohol consumption, but really those rules apply to, not even rules, but just observations apply to all disease. And again, the biggest open questions I have in my research is biology. So, again, what exactly, how well, we've got the genome mapped, how can we take this dysfunction to this genetic marker? Open question like everybody else. But I'm talking overall general things that I'm very confident on, 85 to 90% intuitively, research, scientifically, empirically evidence, confident about. So like the two kind of just big rules, overarching rules that I work in for biology, right? The question nature versus nurture, 85%, well, the percentages are wrong, on the wrong side, but 85% nurture, meaning your environment, your experience, 15% nature. Certainly if you have spina bifida or some sort of, again, just any known genetic disease, that's coming from your genetic code. But again, my thesis, my point, my soon-to-be proof, what I'm absolutely certain on is that it's mainly nurture, and then the half-life rule, right? No matter what you do, no matter what health choice you make in life, you're gonna die. Just generally to the population, you're really trying to maintain your health for the later years. Body's pretty resilient, but there's clearly, to me, again, reviewing all the data that I review, there's a clear drop in metabolization around 60 years old. So, right, two words for, and I have some notes here, just getting a bunch of different random thoughts. Well, not random thoughts, but again, they don't just working through scientific discourse. Right, cancer, right, we've talked about that's a general dysfunction of metabolizing energy. Cirrhosis, for any organ, is replacing healthy cells with damaged cells with scar tissue. So again, whatever cirrhosis in any organ, in any body part would come before cancer more generally. I think so. Right? Cancer would be, again, the overall healthy state versus a disease state. You're going to, the longer you maintain in a healthy state, the less a given stimulus is going to have a potential to generate a disease. And so that was very apparent to me. But right, cells die about every 7 years. And most from the nutrition points, from the alcohol things that I've researched, from sleep deprivation, from, I didn't have any other examples down here, but again, we'll talk about salt, caffeine, any amount of drug, any drug interaction, any just molecule, food, sustenance. Your cells die in about 7 years, and 10 years of extended negligence is pretty evident in all disease states. So why would that be? Right? Well, if the cell only lives for 7 years, it's going to pass on damaged information. And so your metabolism's working great until you're about 60 years old, and if you're in a health state most of the time, we're just going to have a natural drop-off just because you're going from, again, your genetic code building up, going through puberty, competitive mindset to go build a career, and then biology is just shutting down. It's just like what it does. So when the metabolism drops, and then you introduce stimulus over extended negligences, the cirrhosis, the replacement of healthy cells with atrophying cells or dying cells or damaged cells or scar tissue, is going to be a lot more likely, right? I like to use the car analogy, used this yesterday, but right, if you have a car, right? And you never drive it, and then you go try to drive it sometimes. Like after like 30, 40 years, you're probably going to think it's not going to start. If you drive your car every single day and you rev up the engine as fast as you can go in a lot of different ways, there's a chance your car's going to break down faster. If you wake up every day and you drive your car a little bit and you do the normal maintenance, that's probably going to get the maximum lifespan out of the engine. And so that's what we're doing with our hearts, our lungs, our livers, our brains, our bodies, everything. And so cirrhosis, again, is extended negligence, again, for any organ. Cancer is just I think cancer is a more broad disease state than cirrhosis. Talked about that. All diseases about 10 years. Talked about the transferring. Again, the genetic code has to be transferring just the damaged information. That literally has to be what occurs. And now how about the psychology of abuse? Binging is bad in abuse psychology, right? Most people who have addictive behavior at a lot of different things, and it's extensive abusive behavior. And so my point for psychology is people know when they're abusing their body. They know when they're running too much, right? I just, again, random thought, but from 60 Minutes, I don't know, 6-8 months, a year ago, there was an older gentleman literally running from coast to coast. And he was on there, talking about how once he finishes this coast, he's going to start a team relay or something. And then they're talking to his doctor, and he's like, yeah, he's dying. And so when we talk about, our investor bias, at 8, 10, 15% low, like total of maturity, it's like I said, in all these other stores, they go from, like I said, the example of my dad going from, eating food to just fish or just that or just this. It's just, that's what, underdeveloped people kind of do. And so people, for the abuse psychology, for binging anything, people know when they're like abusing their bodies, and people are, again, compounding self-hatred, kind of like this perverse way of like, oh, it's like there's the nihilism broken, oh, nothing really matters, and it doesn't really, but you should make the absolute most of your life and contribute as much as you can, but then you just don't give a shit, and then you're an ape, and you have 10% maturity, and you're going to go gamble a lot, or go hit your wife, or, just any abusive behavior. So that's what I wanted to talk about there. Let me make sure I'm still rolling. And so the last thing, and I have a couple of alcohol facts, but the last thing is for like this FDA salt guidance is, right, they went from, again, I should write this down, but they went from like 3,800 milligrams of salt to 3,300, or they went from 3,300 to 28, and then some doctors said, like, this, I'm thinking of an article I just read, and it's like, a healthy diet should have no more than 2,300 milligrams of salt intake in a given day. But to me, that's just, again, whatever the stimulus is, right? Salt causing heart disease, or Tylenol causing liver failure. Tylenol is actually really fucking bad. But my point for salt specifically, not get away from Tylenol, but when you have something that is so integrated, and I've read this book right here, I think the quote that I'm now thinking of is not in Deep Nutrition, which I falsely referenced or forgot the name of in the way videos ago, but maybe in the actual book that I said in that video, the salt intake that I've read has been pretty inconsequential. Like, they're not sure. And so when I see a percentage of like 3,000 milligrams to 2,300, I mean, you're talking like literally less than 30%. Like, again, it's just the metabolism slowing down, extended abusive negligence, and then like causes of deaths, like you could say, dies from heart disease. But it's like, that's the end kind of damage. That's the organ that failed to cause the death. But the abuse, the body's all connected. There's not like, you can't spot reduce fat exercising. And what do I think exercising does for this? Again, besides literally depleting your energy on a given day, one, it contracts your muscles. Like if someone's getting surgery and they take a heart out or a liver out, like a massage. Physically contracting your muscles is going to speed up the blood flow, have a better dynamic, better metabolism state, better health state. right? People will a lot of times, because of sexuality, oh, you look thin, you look good. And it's like, being thin is not good. Being fat is bad. Being a good body weight with a good metabolism, a good dynamic, good food intake, good shits, good liquids. And so the best way, and again, when I'm talking 10% emotional maturity, how many middle-aged older people are just like, the whole conversation is, do you look fat or not? And it's like, one, a reflection of extreme privilege, but two, again, negligence, abuse psychology. And in terms of being thin, and again, data shows that the older ages, being a little overweight is good, and that's just because of more resources. But the best way to maintain the longest life is to have a good metabolism throughout your entire life. So the salt guidance going from the 30% to me is a complete reflection, again, for salt, alcohol, caffeine, any substance like widely and very clearly tolerated well. Just picking up, because the biologically neutral episode we talked about alcohol specifically, so I just had some stats I tried to look up, and again, it said like the two, pancreatitis and fatty liver disease and or cirrhosis of the liver. But it said no amount, from what I could find online, no amount of beer or wine was associated with pancreatitis at all. And this is where it gets interesting. 20% of alcoholics show liver cirrhosis at death. About 20% of alcoholics, in quotations, because they could not find a convincing definition of alcoholic. Addicted to alcohol would be alcoholic. Don't care about the words. What amount of this substance in this bloodstream causes this damage, causes this fatty buildup, causes this, again, cirrhosis to at what extended exposure. Again, for any organ or any substance consumed, right? Toxicity is a thing, a concept. Toxic is an adjective. Sugar's toxic. Alcohol at a lot is toxic. And like I drink, like I said, 7 to 12 beers a day. And again, it's like my personal motivations, like my personal psychology of drinking alcohol is, what am I going to do for the rest of my day? That is it. That's always been it. But and again, these pathetic people, the 10% people just say acknowledging your own behavior is somehow like you're expressing guilt. It's like, no. It's kind of this fucking scientist that does stuff empirically. But eating a sugar ice cream cone or versus alcohol, eating an ice cream cone is just like I can't tolerate it at all. Like, do not like sugar intake literally at all personally. But the point is, for the stats, right? Like for alcoholic, I looked for a definition, and then you find these stories of people who will be like, they woke up and then, they had a drink before they got out of bed, and then they drank all day. They drank a case of beer, and then they took a handle of liquor, and then they took another handle of liquor after work or something. I mean, like really extreme cases. So you're going from like, is 5 beers okay? Is 10 beers okay? Is 15 beers a day? And then you have people that are like, again, in the addictive mindset where, again, there's a fuck it point. Where it's just like, I'm just going to not give a shit. I'm going to abuse my body. I don't give a shit. I'm going to enjoy the day. And like I said, I personally, at my level of intelligence, could never have been like that. And again, I'm not defending alcohol, but I'm just trying to talk about the psychology, and the 10% of people who actually behave like that literally can't listen to scientific research. But when I see these 20% of alcoholics, the verbiage they use is alcoholics. So I'm assuming it's more on the mindset of drink all day, fuck it all day. What really quantity, again, could not find any sort of data. But 20% show liver cirrhosis, of alcoholics show liver cirrhosis at death. Autopsy, cut open the body, look at the organ, where's the damaged cells? If it wasn't a general health state, it would be like 70% or 80% plus. Again, 85 to 95% confident. And then you might as well, Brad, clearly liver processes the alcohol, you get liver disease when you drink alcohol. Well, you do, but again, that's the stimulation. It's the decrease of metabolism, and then they give it instant, and then that's what causes the disease. The real disease cause is neglecting your health over the extended, again, exercise, sleep, all things considered. But, right, I also found the quote, it said, at least 10 years of heavy, excessive drinking to develop alcohol fatty liver disease, which would be the precursor to cirrhosis for the liver. But again, when I see the words heavy and excessive, the thing that I associate that with is abuse psychology. The fuck it, and then they go with their day. But then obviously you also have stories like people will drink like that, and then they say they sobered up, but it's just like after like 20, 30 years, and there's just no problem. It's like, again, overall health considerations. But you have alcoholic versus non-alcoholic liver disease, right? So the biggest evidence for me is like, okay, so non-alcoholic liver disease is someone who consumes no or little alcohol. So the liver processes your blood all of the time, your kidneys process your blood all of the time. Toxicity is a state. But the non-alcoholic liver disease and the treatment for it and the treatment for high blood pressure and most mental diseases and non-alcohol fatty liver disease is changing your lifestyle choices. There's no magic pills, this is general health states. And so the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease literally shows me that alcoholic fatty liver disease is a false association. Now, granted, again, because of the alcohol being the stimulant for the cirrhosis, for the fatty liver stores, that's certainly a correct correlation, but the disease state is an overall decrease of your health, of your metabolism, for sure. That was really good. That was really just some facts that I had written down from the last episode. But I wanted to talk about that, just like overall health and biology again, for the FDA guidance for the SALT, and just for, again, considerations for COVID and whatnot. Now go look at the people giving those recommendations from the FDA. Do those people look like pillars of health? Do they eat properly? Good, solid, big meals? Do they exercise? Big, solid, good shits? You want to have a good dynamic. You don't want to look thin because sex. Don't do that. So that's what I wanted to cover for just, again, biology, cellular responsivity, metabolism, and health states, and exercise. So now just a couple, maybe one story for sure, and maybe a couple more. So I thought, just thinking of other stories, I got a bunch. Some delicate ones that I do want to tell. They're important for the series, but really not trying to put people, again, besides the people I'm sending to jail for being extensive criminals, not really trying to put people on blast too much. But it's not because I have respect for these people. It's just like trying to do my YouTube channel, trying to state the facts and not do too much for them. But there was one funny story, again, about scientific denial. Kind of a two-part story. Real fun one, funny one. But I don't know, it was probably in senior year of high school. Either junior or senior year. I'm pretty sure senior year. We would have, every Friday we'd go bowling for our gym class. If you were in gym class, you would just like get in a van and go bowling. Like I said, Joe was on the bowling team. Do enjoy bowling. But we're going bowling one day. We're getting on the bus. We go do our bowling. I get back on the bus, and then I just go, oh fuck. We have a writing assignment for our government class. Anyone who would know, it would have been Mrs. Segerson's class, and my friend's name was Zach. And so we get on the bus coming back from bowling, and literally the next period is government class, and I think we had to give a speech. We had to give like a motivational speech and write a motivational speech and, argue something or just talk something about politics, probably something about government. But I get on the bus. Well, the first story, we come back from the bowling alley and we stop for lunch. I don't really remember like the exact structure of the day, but we went bowling, then we had lunch, and it was like a field trip lunch, and we came back for government class. So the first mini story in there is once we're coming back from the bowling alley, we stop at KFC. I think it was KFC. But we go inside, and this is on school time, like with school people, and I think like just maybe just the seniors or just the bowling class. I know it was just the bowling class. I don't know, not relevant. But
Go into KFC, and my friend Zach, and just like the most calm, ordering food at the restaurant, just the most normal way, orders his food, and then goes, and they had Oreo pie. And he was like, well, to the cashier, is the Oreo pie good? And the cashier, at the time, probably close to our age, first type of job, worker at a fast food restaurant. This girl, with full excitement, full joy, goes, the Oreo pie shit slaps. And we all just roar into laughter. Literally, probably one of the funniest reactions ever. Just genuine excitement from the Oreo pie, from the cashier. And we're all just dying laughing. So that was, a lot of people will still remember if the Oreo pie slaps, and it did in fact slap. That is confirmed. We confirmed the slappage of the Oreo pie. So we come back from KFC, and we're going back to just the school, and I look at my buddy Zach, and he's in the government class. I'm like, dude, I forgot this fucking thing. And so he's like, oh, good luck. And so I literally write my speech in probably the 15 minutes it took to get back to the school. Done. Boop. Look how fast I do theorems. Boop. Just wrote a quick little speech. And like again, we went around, go into government class, and you like go around the room and read your speech. It was like a debate. That's what it was. It was a debate with two sides of the room, and you had to be the debate moderator, and then again the context of American history. So I don't know what we were doing, but it was some sort of debate. And it's my turn to read my speech or my argument or whatever, and I read my thing that I literally read 15 minutes ago. Literally 15 minutes ago on the bus. And again, we're all in this fucking hilariously good mood because the fucking Oreo pie fucking slapped. And it absolutely did. And my turn comes along, read my speech, and my teacher just like, again, when I speak, when I write, people listen, my teacher goes, who wrote that? Was that like, where'd you get that from? Was that like from like Hamilton or Washington? Like starts naming the fucking presidents and like legal scholars. Was that John Locke? And my buddy Zach just fucking erupts into laughter again because he watched me write the shit 15 minutes earlier. So that was again another time in school, people acknowledging the sophistication of my logical presentation. And what do? It's got to be somebody else. Diffuse the responsibility. Can't be Brad. Is that Washington? Locke? Hamilton? Fun fact, I've graded the Federalist Papers, all of them, word for word. Dart said this, but Alexander Hamilton's the worst fucking writer I've ever read. John Jay on the Federalist Papers, he only did like the first 11, 12, but he was the only like tolerable writer then. But so that was absolutely fucking hilarious. So I have a couple other stories, but I'll leave them for another time. So thank you for watching Language Litigation and Integration Part 40, Casual Conversation 6.